So I was going through my YouTube and I managed to come across a video. Undertale, lackluster and overrated is the title of the video. Although Undertale is one of my favorite games of all time, if not my absolute favorite game, I found the video interesting at first glance because this was uploaded by a smaller content creator such as myself, and I respect the grind. So I clicked on the video. It's not too long, only 3 minutes and like 20 something seconds. And the video itself was not it was a pretty bad review, if I'm going to be completely honest. Now, I'm all for people having their own opinions on popular video games. For example, like the Spider-Man game that came out for PS4. I didn't like that game too much, even though a lot of people like that. I just didn't. It just wasn't my favorite. It just wasn't my thing. But I played through pretty much the entire game when it came out, and I just didn't like it. Now this guy goes through numerous points in the video, or more like 3 or 4, and all of them are just objectively incorrect. Now, I would understand that bullet hells are not everybody's thing, okay? I get that 100%. There's a lot of bullet hell games that I don't really like myself. The two notable ones that I actually have fun with are Neon Abyss and Undertale, plus fan games and whatnot. Before I get into the video, I'm going to make it known that I absolutely love when people come into communities that I've been a part of forever. Well, I wouldn't say I'm exactly part of the Undertale community, but I have played this game since it came out. I've played it on every single console it's been available on. This game, I love this game, and there's no way getting around that. And I'm all for new people coming in and trying the game. I hate gatekeeping. I know people like that within the community that enjoy gatekeeping Undertale, but that goes for any game, and I fucking hate it when people act like that.
So I might as well tackle the elephant in the room, the story. Well, I'm just gonna come out and say it. It's unfinished and unfleshed out. There are tons of unexplained plot points and mechanics that we just have to accept are there, but never get any context.
He addresses that the elephant in the room is supposedly the story, which, initially I would think it would be a positive thing, but since the video is titled Undertale Lackluster and Overrated, it can only be negative. He goes on to point out that the story is lackluster and unfinished. Without being disrespectful at all, because I'm trying to make this video more like analytical than like emotionally charged, which is kind of what a good bit of my content stems from. Not like just like, oh, fuck you or shit like that. No, it's just more so like off the cuff. And with this video, I'm trying to be a little bit more like trying to dissect the points a bit better. But I don't really understand where he's coming from. Essentially, any person that's played Undertale knows that there are different routes you can take in the game, hence why you have the option to kill or spare certain monsters. And I can already tell this guy didn't play through the game once, or only played through like one ending, 2 at most, and they're all on the neutral route, which then I can understand. But you gotta have a little bit more commitment before you make a review on a game like Undertale. If he had played through the story and just didn't like it, that's fine. I know people like that, and that's perfectly fine, but he didn't really give the story a fair chance, and that's what bothers me the most.
The worst offenders are determination. Like, what the hell is this? Determination, or should I say deus ex machina, a word they keep using throughout this game every time I die, and for some reason it's never explained. Like, okay? Although I do acknowledge that it's probably left like this so the player can find their own meaning and interpretation, which is fair, although it is pretty obvious that Mr. Fox is implying that the voice we hear is Jesus Christ, guiding the player back on the path of the hero.
Next, he goes into the fact that there are tons of unexplained plot points. The first one he says is an offender named Determination. I don't really get where this is coming from at all, like, personally. Because if he's played through the entire game at least once, he would know about the other 6 human souls. And he would know that they all have their unique traits and they all have their unique color. And therefore, he'd be able to piece together that Frisk's soul is Determination. He also states that Determination is never explained. Yes and no. Undertale explains determination in a really ambiguous manner, but it's not gonna fucking spoon feed you the information. Then it wouldn't be a good story if it just spoon fed you everything.
One thing that I don't praise him for is that flower. Like, huh? It tries to kill me at the start of the game, fricks off, and then is the final boss, and that's it. The flower is probably one of the most underdeveloped villains I've ever seen in a video game ever. Like, I get being bad for the sake of being bad might be the point.
He explains that Flowey is one of the most underdeveloped villains in video game history. And that's just objectively incorrect, because if you play through the pacifist route, you would understand way more about Flowey. And this guy made a review on the game without caring to play through it more than once. And the game's not even that long. It's like, I think the pacifist route's the longest. It's like 6 to 8 hours. And that's not even that long for a game. That's actually pretty short, where you get a ton of backstory on Flowey, and it's not all an expedition dump. And that's why Flowey is, he's a good villain. Even though I personally don't like him, Flowey is a pretty good villain. There is a ton of hints that, Flowey is connected more to Asgore and Toriel than, you might initially suspect. Like how you go into the throne room, and there's just a bunch of golden flowers on the ground. Although, you think that this would just be a coincidence, you find out that, when Flowey or Asriel turned to dust, his dust landed on the flower, and he came back as this stupid fucking flower. But that's all I have to say for that. Just play through the game more. Actually, all of my points boil down to just play through the game more, but I like dissecting them one by one.
If the game itself holds up, which it kind of does. However, the boss fights are just too easy. I was told that this game had some of the hardest bosses in any game, but at most, a single boss might have taken me 4 or 5 tries, but that's it. A far cry from the unbeatable insane bosses that people told about this game that took them months to beat.
This next one is kind of funny because of the footage he shows in the video. So essentially, he explains that the boss fights are too easy and they're boring, which, I can understand on like the neutral route or the pacifist route, because some of them are pretty easy. But characters like Toriel and Papyrus are there just to kind of teach you the basics of the game. Papyrus suspiciously teaches you what the blue attack is, for the sake of the funny sands fight you experience if you go down the wrong route later on. In the video, he's showing that the Toriel fight, where in the end she's just purposefully missing and he's just standing in the middle, and he's like, well, I'm surprised that it took people months to beat. Well, I mean, no shit. Just play through the game more than once. You'll find that if you play the genocide route, although it didn't take me months to beat Undying the Undying and Sands, it took me quite a long time. I don't know what else to tell you, man. Just play through the game some more and you should be fine. Just remember that it's not that hard, man. The game doesn't even take that long to play through. It's $10 and you get a lot of bang for your buck when you play this game through thoroughly. The final point, I would 100% understand if it wasn't 2023. If this guy has gone until 2023 without seeing a singular clip of the Sands fight, I am genuinely impressed. Like, I don't understand how that happens. That is beyond my imagination. That is insane. That's impressive, actually. He does say that, maybe he was just gaslit into thinking that the funny skeleton man had a backbone. I guess. It really sounds like you're picking this down to the bone. Glad to see your funny bone isn't broken. Okay, I'm sorry. I would understand this point if it was not 2023. I don't know. It's just kind of a point. I can understand where he's coming from, and there's nothing really to pick apart other than me saying just play through the game more. And I hate repeating myself over and over again, but I don't know how else to put it. This is where like the issue lies. If you can't play through the game more, how are you gonna make a review on it? I'm sorry, but this is objectively one of the worst reviews I've ever seen. He I don't understand. I really don't. You know, all this could be solved if you play through the game more than once. That's it. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. See ya.